My name is Mark Barton, and I'm what you would call an adult onset hunter. Growing up overseas, I thought hunting was only something people did in the movies. When I moved back to my homeland, I was determined to learn, but nobody would show me the ropes. I had to teach myself through trial and error. Once I started to figure it out, I vowed to create the resource that I never had, to educate, entertain, and inspire others just like me. Join me on my adventures, learn from my successes and my mistakes. Welcome to Swamp and Stomp.
What's up, everyone? Matt here from the Scientific Outdoorsman Podcast. If you haven't checked out our channel yet, definitely should. Today I'm excited to walk y'all through the 12 stainless steel electric meat grinder. This is coming to us from Sportsman's Valley. This is a pretty heavy duty meat grinder for home use. If you're someone who's planning to, if you're a hunter, grind a lot of meat, maybe, small scale commercial use, this might be the machine for you. So it's a pretty heavy duty machine. Just the motor box itself weighs about 30 pounds. But as I'll get to, I actually kind of like how much weight this thing has to it. It's a powerhouse. It's 3/4 horsepower, 550 watt. The company rates it to grind about 420 pounds of meat an hour. I haven't put it to that test yet. I did grind a little bit of meat with it, and it did suck it through pretty quick, so I was pretty pleased with that. So as far as other things that come with it, you've got a really nice meat tray. You've got your meat chute here, all stainless steel, so this stuff's built to last. And it's decent sizes, so it can process a lot of that meat quickly. It just has a simple on-off switch on the back side. And one thing I was a little bit concerned about when I first saw this is that it's only a single speed. I'm used to using, it's just a conventional KitchenAid, but it had multiple speed adjustments. And with that, I've seen, if you get it too fast, it can start spitting the meat out. But I did not have that issue with this. It was a steady speed, and the meat came out really nicely. And it all goes together really simply. Everything just fits well. Nice 2-inch diameter auger here that also helps push meat quickly through the machine. And fits in really nice there. There are 3 different plates that come with it in addition to the knife. Again, all stainless steel, pretty heavy duty stuff here. We've got our 10 millimeter plate. We have a 4.5 millimeter plate. And then we also have the sausage plate. The sausage plate was the one part of this that to me felt a little bit flimsy. But in reality, that's just because everything else is so beefy. I was able to make some sausage with this, and it all processed just fine. Speaking of sausage, there are 3 different sausage stuffing tubes that you have for anything from, small sausage stuffer for your meat sticks, all the way up to, if you want to make some pepperoni or something. Again, all super easy to put together and assemble. Speaking of assembly, coming back to this, we've got our auger in place now. Knife here, again, just a really nice blade on this. Good quality durability. Kind of like how it has the beveled edges that seem to help the meat go through easily. All goes on nice and well. We'll put our plate on. Also, all the plates have this little divot in them that helps you orient the position of the blade into the machine. And one thing I'll mention here is it sits really nice and flush, which is nice except for when you're trying to clean the machine out. Because if you got a bunch of meat in there, it kind of binds everything up, and that keeps you from being able to access this just with your fingers. So I had to grab a fork to pull that out after I ground some meat through it. But again, other than that, usability about this is really nice. The design of the cover has these prongs, which is really helpful for putting the cover on when your hands are all greasy and you're in the middle of processing. once you get the threads all lined up. Comes with what I like to call the meat plunger. One thing that I did find with this is I didn't need it when I was sending the meat through the first time. The auger did a really great job of grabbing that meat and pulling it right through. But when I had the ground meat, I was pushing it through, and the dimension or the diameter of the hole in the meat tray and our little plunger here, it's sufficient to get most meat down, but there's a lot of meat that comes up through the side. So I did find myself wanting to have a slightly bigger sized plunger here to help push that meat through. The large meat tray is also great because you can put a ton of meat in there, and it feels somewhat flimsy. Maybe that's just because the rest of it's so solid. But in reality, I was able to put 8 pounds of meat in this, and it held its position really well. And that comes back to what I was saying earlier about how this machine is pretty heavy, which makes it pretty sturdy. What's also really nice about it, on the bottom here, we've got 4 rubber feet, and these rubber feet really just help solidify this thing on the table so it doesn't move around on you while it's moving all this meat, which I found to be really helpful. Once you're done grinding meat, it's pretty simple disassembly. All the parts just come apart pretty simply. As simply as it went together. Obviously, when you're grinding meat, you're going to have some leftover meat in there that's going to bind things up a little bit. But I still found it really easy to take everything apart, which is really convenient for easy cleaning, and again, just keeping the longevity of the machine and all the parts going. But again, overall, I was really pleased with the product. I was able to move a lot of meat quickly. It came out with good quality to it. There weren't any large chunks or anything. The only other thing that I did find was the again, what I'm calling the meat chute here. This is one solid piece. So when you're all done, there's going to be a bit of meat, at least if you're processing meat through twice. After that second time, you're going to have a decent amount of meat that's left behind in the auger and the chute. So one thing I ended up doing was just getting a spoon, scooping the rest of that out, and that was fine. But other than that, it was really, didn't see any issues. Moved the meat through well, and was pleased with the product. So if you're looking for a new meat meat processor, I think this grinder is definitely an option, especially if you're planning to process a lot of meat. And if you are planning to get one, use the discount code below and get yourself a little savings there. And you can find these on Amazon and also in the link below. So yeah, check it out if you're interested, and stay tuned for future episodes.